Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the dog, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still the answer the call. And we said, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the dog, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still the answer the call. And we said, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum show.
If you don't believe that we are in a fight today, you're sleeping under a rock. If you get hit and you lay down and you cry and you fold up in the corner, definitely you will not win the fight. We show up to win. Our culture needs a lot of you young people in here to step up and stand out. There is nothing or no principality, power, division, devil can stop us when we're united. They can only get you when you're divided. When I see the American flag, I see us progressing to something that can be awesome and great. And if you don't plan on winning then, you might as well go on the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies, welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. Messing around, not getting sleep is my kryptonite at times. Even when I take Synergy, man, you still got to go to sleep at a normal hour. You can't do 3 hours, think you're going to take Synergy, and it's going to give you better sleep than it did if you didn't take it. But, oh, it's whooping my butt. So I'm taking my Synergy day 2. So I did the night and the day on 2 or 3 hours of sleep. It's all my fault. So y'all bear with me during the show. I'm going to try to push through. Mentioning Synergy, and I wasn't even meaning that to be an ad. If you go to synergylife.com, look at the reviews. You ain't got to buy nothing. Look at the reviews of Synergy. People are saying that it is changing their lives. They can get off of too much caffeine, stop drinking coffee, and other things that are, and some things that are unnatural. And they are taking Synergy. One of the guys here, Jeff Utch, I interviewed, he trained Navy SEAL, said that the night drink is the best sleep drink he's ever had, best sleep aid he's ever had in his life. And he said the day is still on the verdict because he like another product just as well. But at least he honest with me. So anyway, go to Synergy Life and get you some products today if you want it. If you don't want it, don't get it. Buy your favorite stuff. All right. Another thing I want to let you guys know is I do have a Substack. It's The Officer Tatum on Substack. I wrote an op-ed about the Ashkenazi Jews and why they are direct line of Abraham, contrary to what people are saying in these theories that are out there that somehow the Jews that live in Israel right now are not original Jews. It's a lie. It's not rooted in facts and truth. What I said in the evidence from peer-reviewed genetic research is what's real. So I'm gonna try to tag the thing in this video or another video so you guys can follow me on Substack. I'm gonna write an op-ed for every single video that I make. And so I want to be able to put some of the videos into text form because it's a little bit different when you get to write it out versus you just talking, right? When I did the op-ed on the Ashkenazi Jews, I was able to put peer-reviewed research in it and do some extra stuff in it that I normally don't do when I'm explaining it in the video because it's just too much nuanced context. But when you can read it out, you can have a thorough, educated, lengthy articulation of what I'm trying to articulate in the video. Okay. And I'll say this for the record. I almost should make a shirt about it. I'm a proud Zionist. I remember when I used to listen to people say Zionism and Zionism, I'm like, dang, that must be a bad thing. Then I looked at it, and I guess Zionism is literally believing that Israel has a right to have a state, their own land that they can exist in. And if anybody think that believing that that is a reality, that should be a reality, and they think it's bad, I don't know what to tell you. Now, we can agree to disagree, but I think that Israel should have a state. I think the Jewish people should have a place for them to be. And I do believe that Americans should help protect that right. All right, let's get to this maniac that I guess has now won the Democrat nomination for mayor of New York City. Now, this guy is absolutely insane and out of control, in my personal opinion. I do believe that Mayor Adams will win because I think he's an independent. And so I think Mayor Adams will win because I think that every Republican that live in New York, which is millions of Republicans, believe it or not, should all vote for Mayor Adams. I think what happened last election is that a lot of Republicans voted for the other candidate, and Mayor Adams was a Democrat, and they didn't vote for him. So the Democrats actually elected Mayor Adams. But I think this time he can have support from reasonable, rational Democrats and Republicans. And I hope that Mayor Adams, if you look at the competition here, I hope that Mayor Adams actually wins. Unless there's a New York mayor that's going to run against Mayor Adams, that's a staunch Republican, a person who believes in the America First agenda. You name it. But let's listen to what they had to say on Fox News about this radical, I want to call him a jihadist, but I'm not going to call him a jihadist. Roll the clip.
Democratic socialist. He wants to freeze the rent. He wants city-run grocery stores, social workers to replace the police because that's going to help. He wants $60 billion of debt fund for affordable housing. He wants free buses, no cost for childcare, baby baskets for newborn, and a $30 minimum wage. How can someone vote for this?
He's a snake oil salesman. Mm-hmm. He will say and do anything to get elected. Think about this for a moment. He wants to raise 1%. He wants to raise tax on 1% of New York's high-income earners. As the mayor, you don't have the authority to do that. You know who has the authority to do that? An assemblyman, which he is. He wants to do free buses. He could have done it at assemblyman. He doesn't understand the power of government and how you must making sure you improve your economy, raise the standard of living, and this is what we've done in the city. And I'm looking forward to being on the campaign trail and showing New Yorkers we can't go backwards. And New Yorkers never surrender or quit. I'm never going to quit for the city that I love.
That is so interesting. You're in the position, so you know you don't have the authority to do that. Yet he's running on all these promises he's not going to be able to fulfill. And New Yorkers are buying it. Now, Cuomo did say he hasn't ruled out whether or not he's going to run as an independent, which means he would be on your ticket. He would run against you. How would that affect your race in the field?
I've said this over and over again. People know me by saying three things: stay focused, no distractions, and grind. That's what everyday New Yorkers do. I'm a working class mayor. I'm probably the first working class union card carrying mayor in the history of this city. Andrew at this time should realize that the time has moved on. He just did not bring the energy of wanting to be mayor. And New Yorkers, they have this smell test. They know, do you want the job? You can't come out on weekends, go to a black church, go eat fried chicken, and all of a sudden saying that I have the black vote, I have the working class people vote. It's just not the reality. People know if you want the job. He didn't want the job.
What has your phone been like since Mamdani won, who's a BDS guy? He is anti-Semitic. He's anti-Israel. He's going to arrest Prime Minister Netanyahu if he comes to city. So now, all of a sudden, Eric Adams, you might be the only thing to stop, along with Curtis Sliwa, him from becoming the next mayor. What has it been like since the results have basically been all but official?
A lot of communications. I think I slept an hour and a half because the phone was going off all night. People understand this moment.
Coming back to you?
In a combination, a lot of people did.
So he goes on to say, give his thoughts on how people have been responsive to the victory of this idiot, and then also him running again and being the buffer from electing somebody who's crazy. Now, him being a Muslim extremist, potentially, or whatever they call him, is irrelevant. $30 minimum wage is insanity. Do you understand? $30 minimum wage. That means every single job that there is to be had has to pay you at least $30 an hour. That means working at a convenience store at $30 an hour. That means washing toilets at a school as a janitor is at least $30 an hour. That's not sustainable. And then he wanted to tax every corporation, bring the tax up by 4%. He said in New Jersey it's 11%. They're at 7%. He want to bring New York corporate tax to 11%. That's 4% higher than what it is today. Corporations are going to be paying hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars more in taxes. For what though? And then he goes on to say he want to add a 2% tax hike on people that's making $1 million or more a year. The fact that he's doing it is insane, but the reason that he's doing it is even more insane. They want to do this so they can capitulate to illegal aliens in our country, free buses. I mean, look, man, he want a complete socialist utopia on the backs of multimillionaires and billionaires. Now, when the people move out of the city, what are you going to do? When billionaires say, we're just going to go live in Florida, then how are you going to pay for your pet projects? That's why this stuff don't work. I got a ton of other videos. Let's expose this fool for the fake accent that he was doing. Clip 5. Roll it.
Because I think that New Yorkers, more than they hate a politician they disagree with, they hate a politician they can't trust.
On the subject of trust, you've adopted different speaking accents in different scenarios.
But they go to their local bodega.
Is there one that's real and one that's affected?
What I would say is, as any immigrant knows, having been born in Kampala, Uganda, and then raised in South Africa and moving here when I'm 7 years old, is there are different parts of my life.
Worldwide tour is a worldwide tour is a worldwide tour.
Mamdani was talking about a worldwide press tour back when he was a rapper.
Bring the flavor to the fish, bring the flavor to the rice.
In a Disney movie directed by his mother.
Nepotism and hard work goes a long way. Here in New York City, this is how I speak.
Fake. Let's go to the next one, clip 6.
बात ये नहीं है कि मैं क्या बनूंगा, बात ये है कि मैं क्या करूंगा हमारे कम्युनिटीज के लिए और हर एक न्यूयॉर्कर के लिए। मैं हमारे शहर को अफोर्डेबल बनाऊंगा। न्यूयॉर्कर्स मुश्किल से अफोर्ड कर रहे हैं रोटी, कपड़ा और मकान। मैं ये सब बदलने के लिए लड़ रहा हूँ। रेंट फ्री बसेस, यूनिवर्सल चाइल्ड केयर और सस्ती ग्रोसरीज के जरिए। पर आपको एक सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ, तुमने कभी किसी को वोट किया?
So, pushing propaganda in a foreign language, promoting what? Not really. I don't know what he was saying in the foreign language, but it doesn't appear that he's talking about safer streets, improving police. He want to replace the police department. He want free rent. Like, I don't even know how people can logically come to the conclusion that any of this that he's doing makes sense. How are people voting for this guy? Are people that stupid or what? Man, I mean, maybe the answer is yes. Let's go to his victory speech where he made a promise to oppose Trump and ICE. Roll the clip.
We have won because New Yorkers have stood up for a city they can afford. A city where they can do more than just struggle. And it's where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism, to stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors, and to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party.
I'm going to oppose Donald Trump, and I'm going to keep ICE from deporting illegal aliens in our country. Let's put this in perspective real quick, because I had some numbers that I want to put out here. Where was those numbers at? Nah, I don't think that's the one. Let's just go to the next clip. I think that's on another topic. I'm confusing them with Chicago, but this is this fool crying at Tom Homan over immigration enforcement. Roll the clip. Look at him. Political theater. Let's go to clip 9. I'm going to show y'all everything you need to know about this guy. Roll it.
For me, when you ask what does it mean to be a democratic socialist, for me it means to be fighting for a society in which dignity is guaranteed to each and every member of this place. And I believe that the state should play a critical role in the distribution of that dignity and the ensuring that that dignity is actually received. This is one case where Republicans would be correct. There are taxes that I want to raise. They would like to portray this as me trying to raise taxes on someone making 50, 60, 70K, which is not the case. What we need to do is raise taxes on those who have more than enough and should share a little bit more with the rest of the society. There's nothing hidden from plain view about who I am and what I want to fight for. I'm not secretly telling everyone I'm a socialist now. This is something we built the campaign around.
That I can't stop eating them. But this is the foolery and asininity. I just made up a word. You can use it for free. The asininity of people who are claiming that raising tax on corporations and wealthy only affect rich people, and minimum wage only affects only positively affects people who are working. If you raise corporate tax, businesses are going to raise their prices. They are not going to just take a hit because they don't have to take a hit. Just the same way that they think that they're bullying corporations by saying, we'll raise the taxes and we challenge you to try to leave the state. Good luck. The corporation is like, we're going to raise our prices and we challenge you to go buy from somewhere else. We challenge you to go to Walmart somewhere else. Where are you going to go? It's the only Walmart in town. It's the only place you can buy furniture in town. They're going to raise corporate tax by 3-4%, and they're just going to raise the prices by 3-4%, and they can raise the price by 10%. Where are New Yorkers going to do? Now that they claim the minimum wage is $30, if the minimum wage is $30, that means people are making a lot more money. That means that corporations can make you spend more money. Let's give an example. If I was selling a product for $30, and the demographic that can buy the product can easily afford $30. If the demographic that buys my product can now afford $60, it won't hurt me at all as a corporation to raise the price to $40, $50. They can afford $60. I raise it to $50. And at the end, I raise it to $60. And at the end of the day, what happens is, they tax the corporations. They give people more money. Everything becomes more expensive. And therefore, the people that got more money ain't really seeing more money because they're just paying more. What are we talking about? Rich people do not pay taxes like you think they do. They have enough resources, financial security, that they can leave New York and go live in Florida somewhere and still spend half the time in New York. They can have a house in New York, spend most of their time in Florida, pay no state income tax, live off the tax code of Florida, and still enjoy the benefits of but New York when it's not freezing cold. You can't do that. You got to go to work when it's cold, when it's the summer. You got to go to work and pay all the taxes that they enforce. I don't get it, man. I don't get why they lie to people and they believe it. You cannot hike minimum wage to $30 an hour. That is insane. Because what happens in a corporation where your manager is making $31 an hour, Your entry-level person is making $20 an hour. You raise it to 30, what is the manager going to have to get paid? If the base guy that's at the front desk is making $30 an hour, then the person that's managing him got to at least make a percentage above him. They got to bump that person up to $36, $40 an hour to make it even make sense. That's a strain on the economics of a corporation that they're going to pass the price down to the working class people. That's why this tax BS don't work. All right, let's go to 10 and then we're going to go to 11. Listen to this fool.
Mayor Mamdani, would you welcome Prime Minister Netanyahu to New York City for whatever he comes for, given the US is not a signatory to the ICC, so he can travel to the US, unlike a lot of other countries. Would a Mayor Mamdani welcome Benjamin Netanyahu to the city?
No. As mayor, New York City would arrest Benjamin Netanyahu. This is a city that our values are in line with international law. It's time that our actions are also.
Even though the US is not a signatory to the ICC?
No, it's time that we actually step up and make clear what we are willing to do to showcase the leadership that is sorely missing in the federal administration.
So this guy, and I know it's got to be a crime. It just sounds like a crime. You're going to arrest a political leader of another country with what authority? What authority does local, state law enforcement, what authority and jurisdiction do they have over a leader of a sovereign nation? So when Benjamin Netanyahu comes to, well, you're not going to be able to do it, but if Benjamin Netanyahu comes to New York, because there's a lot of Jewish people that live in New York, and he comes to give a speech for Mayor Adams, or I guess when this guy think he's going to get elected, and you go arrest him for what? What crimes are you going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu for? Trespassing? You're going to arrest him for a civil infraction? Are you going to arrest him for a state law violation? State police cannot arrest people for federal charges. So the federal government is going to have to do something federally if Benjamin Netanyahu is going to be held to account for anything. You're lying to people. You're virtue signaling. You won't arrest illegal aliens and criminals that are in your city, but you're going to arrest Benjamin Netanyahu, whom have committed no crimes in the state of New York. And they talk about international law. Well, if you are now enforcing international law, everybody that support Hamas, which is deemed a terrorist group in the United States of America, and the people who are occupying Palestine or Gaza, any Hamas sympathizer, any Hamas related person should all be sent to jail. But you ain't gonna do that because you just hate Israel. It has nothing to do with law and order. Last clip, Joy Reid, who is by far the dumbest person on the internet. She is number one. This girl is number one in many categories. I want to send her an award. She's the dumbest person on television, dumbest person on the internet, dumbest black woman to ever live, dumbest black person to ever live, dumbest person on CNN in history. She is a rock star when it comes to being a dummy. Roll the clip.
There's no one happier after Mamdani and his family than Eric Adams tonight, because everyone over 50 years old who remembers Times Square in the 1970s and the 1980s when you couldn't walk through, it was all pornography and crack and muggings and rapes and robberies. Everyone who remembers that is going to vote for Eric Adams. The New York Times, who didn't do an endorsement, did say, please don't vote for Mamdani, as did the Daily News, as did the New York Post. So anybody who knows how bad New York can get all came out against Mamdani, because a 33-year-old with zero experience running anything except a little office with 5 employees should not be running the city of New York.
Donald Trump is president of the United States. His experience was being on The Apprentice.
Time out.
He's head of the
Time out. Woo! She heating up, boy. The little hair she got left gonna catch on fire. First of all, this guy is 30-something years old. He has no business experience to the extent of running the second largest, or maybe second or third largest economy in the United States of America. One of the largest economies in the world. And he's 30-something years old. you're going to have to be incredibly compelling and have a real mission and method of success in New York to even have a chance. He don't even have that. And this bald-head scallywag is going to try to compare a 32-year-old man with Donald Trump, who was in his 60s, when he probably was 60, he's 60 or 70 something when he ran for office, had decades of business dealings and experience, multi-billion-dollar portfolio, a real estate mogul who does business in other countries and have been involved in politics and have been involved in these things for decades. He has got more business experience than this guy had been alive. The guy has many successful businesses. He know people, his name recognition, you name it, Trump had it. And she compared him to this fool. Give me a break. Milk Dud, roll the clip.
He's a billionaire. Joy, are you going to compare a 70-year-old man?
Are you kidding me?
Are you
He's
going to
got
compare a 70-year-old
Dr.
man to a
Oz is in his
33-year-old
administration.
kid?
Dr. Oz,
But you're
are you
leaving out
kidding
something.
me?
He's a 33-year-old socialist who's never run a popsicle stand.
He's literally in city government right now. Sorry, after Donald Trump, I'm sorry, after Donald Trump and his Pinky and the Brain administration, no one ever gets to talk about qualifications
Socialism
again.
will not
Sorry,
save
the
the
bottom
capitalist
line is,
capital of the
what
world.
I want to ask you a question. What is your evidence that Mamdani would return New York City to the 1970s hellhole Times Square? What is your evidence of
It's
that?
very simple. So he wants to raise taxes on people who make the most money. What eventually is going to happen is you're going to lose that tax base. Once you lose that tax base, our bonds will get degraded. Now the city budget will not be substantial enough to subsidize not only the cops but the fire department, the sanitation department. Once you start losing Wall Street and people who pay $11,000, $12,000 a month to live on the Upper East Side, you're done.
Let me ask
and you
you.
go back to the 70s when Gerald Ford said to New York, drop dead.
Okay, but
and
hold
the whole
on,
fiscal
Arthur.
crisis.
Now, I can go on and on about what he's saying. Like, if I was, like, this is the thing about California. I looked this up, right? Me and my friend was talking about moving to Texas, right? He's talking about moving to Texas. I thought about moving to Texas, but I don't think I'm in a position to move my entire company to Texas, right? That's going to be, I have to be making $100 million a year to think about something like that. But I decided, let me go on ChatGPT and see, right? So I did my things. I said, this is how much I make a year. This is, I think I put some more information in there. And I said, if I, with the same income that I have now, taking into account of taxes and employees and all this other stuff, if I moved everything to Texas, and I just said Texas, I didn't even specifically say where at in Texas. No, I think I said Dallas, which Fort Worth would probably be a little cheaper. But I said Dallas, from Scottsdale to Dallas. And I said, how would I, percentage-wise, would I lose money or would I have a little bit more economic strength in Texas? It said you will gain 23%. I think it was like 23% more economic freedom. It's 23% cheaper to live in Texas, is what it said to me. Then I go off and I pick California. I said, now, with those numbers, if I went to California, what would I look like? It says 73% more expensive. 73%. That's I almost will be paying double what I pay in Scottsdale, Arizona to just run and operate the same company I operate. Now, New York is worse than California, I think, or at least competitive. So what I'm saying is to say, somebody who's doing well and can afford to live in New York won't move to New York. The people who live in New York that are wealthy will say, why would I do this in New York? I'm just going to move to Florida, or I'm going to move somewhere else. I'm going to take my money and my corporation with me. And you think that won't happen. Elon Musk, major organization, left California to go to Texas. Joe Rogan, a major taxpayer in the state of California, moved to Texas. I mean, you got people moving to Nashville. The Daily Wire was a massive financial, and I can say a tax-paying organization in California. They moved to Nashville. These companies that are extremely wealthy, they can afford to move their entire corporation. Why? Because if you're going to save 70% by moving somewhere else, That pays for the move in and of itself. So I'm not done with this guy. There was this rap song that he made, and there's also commentary from 50 Cent. Let's go to clip 6 because I want to show what 50 Cent said in response to this dude's statement on the Breakfast Club. And you know the people on Breakfast Club stupider than 3 left shoes by even having his, let me not say that. Roll the clip.
I've proposed is that we raise $10 billion to pay for our entire economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city because we know he'll use federal funding as leverage over this city. And we will do so in 2 key ways. The first is to match the state's top corporate tax rate to that of New Jersey. We are at 7.25%. They're at 11.5%. Corporations can pay it over there. They can pay it over here. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't just apply to corporations headquartered in New York City. Because when you say this, people will say, well, they're going to go to Florida. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are headquartered, as long as you do business in the state of New York, you are taxable for that corporate tax. We're talking about corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% tax increase. And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. Mm-hmm. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
Now, you also want to cut.
Okay, I want y'all to consider this. This fool just said, not only for corporations that leave, but if you do business, you're subject to corporate taxes by just doing business in New York. Why would companies continue over the next 10 years to posture to do business in New York if they're going to get hosed in New York, and they will get hosed by doing business in New York? People just won't do business in New York. I'm just telling you. And this is what 50 Cent said. I shared this in a chat. But 50 Cent says, where did he come from? Whose friend is this? I'm not feeling this plan, though. I will give him $258,750 in a first-class one-way ticket away from New York. I'm telling Donald Trump what he said, too. So 50 Cent is trolling this guy. But I think it's concerning, don't you? The radical socialist theology that this guy is perpetuating. I hope that New Yorkers are not stupid enough to vote for him, to be quite honest. Let's see. There was this talk about the Holy Land 5. We'll get to that at another time. But I guess there was some terrorist group that he was supporting in a rap song, knowing his rap lyrics are trash. All right, let's go to another knucklehead, Brandon Johnson in New York. Brandon Johnson is one of the most prominent snake oil salesmen on planet Earth. Why do you say that, Brandon? Look at what he said about Donald Trump. And these cowards, in my opinion, will go so far to call a man a name and then try to jump through hoops why they didn't call the man a name that they just called him. He literally said Donald Trump is a terrorist. That's what he said. Roll the clip.
Not calling the president a terrorist?
No, what I'm saying is trying to hold people hostage and manipulating them to succumb to his will. That is how terrorists behave. We're not going to negotiate with terrorists.
What are your thoughts on?
He just said, how could somebody be even married to this guy? He is I bet if you looked up what's in his phone, he probably got a double life. He one of them double life type dudes. This fool just said, the way Donald Trump is operating is like a terrorist. We don't negotiate with terrorists. What are you saying? The negotiations between you and Trump, you said what he's doing is like a terrorist, and we don't negotiate with terrorists. So pretty much what you're saying is Donald Trump is acting like a terrorist. You're considered to him be a terrorist. That's why you won't negotiate with the terrorist. You're calling him a terrorist. He'll make a good pastor. Roll the clip.
On having a meeting with the Trump administration to try and, for lack of a better phrase, kiss the ring to be able to stop the federal funds from being held back from the city of Chicago.
Well, I will just say, outside of a 2016 Cubs World Series ring. I'm not kissing a ring, okay? The President of the United States of America has an open invitation to the 5th floor of the greatest freaking city in the world, the city of Chicago. And I'm going to just be bold here for a second. There's a long history of black political leaders talking to people who may not see us as first class, trying to force your will to break the spirit of work.
Can I call him the N with the hard R? I want to call him the N with the hard R. I just call him a Negro for now. This Negro had the nerve to try to pull the race card and say, we do with political leaders that don't see us as equal or whatever the case may be. Hey, dummy, you got elected. And it wasn't all black people that voted for you, because they can't get you in office if all of them voted for you and the white people voted against you. What are you saying, bro? You literally are in office because of white people, in part, by probably a large part, and you still complaining about being black and how you got a disadvantage. No, because you're an idiot, fool. Roll the clip.
People in order to have a conversation, that's terrorism. We're not going to negotiate with terrorists. We're going to negotiate on behalf of working people in this city. And that's what American people want us to do. There's a reason why he's losing support. Now, he doesn't care. This president refuses to see our humanity. And his response to this economy is to give tax breaks and benefits to the ultra rich while the rest of us are struggling. You got to show up for working people in this city, in this country, and not for the oligarchs and the ultra rich. That's what has destroyed our economy, is that we have the ultra rich who continue to receive tax breaks while the rest of us have to pay for their failures.
They should go to hell and jail at the same time for saying something so stupid. Just so y'all know, Brandon Johnson's approval rating is 14%. Disapproval rating is around 80%. His net favorability is negative 73%, meaning that it's 73% in the negative. Got one of the lowest approval ratings for a U.S. mayor in modern history. Crime is out of control. Taxes are too high. City services are poor. Budget issues, immigration issues, woke policies, all are destroying Chicago. And if you look at it, we had a clip the other day. It went viral on my Instagram of Chicagoans coming out, black ones are coming out and chastising him over the foolery that he's doing that's destroying the city. These people are such hypocritical liars. They keep saying the same talking point. He's giving tax breaks to the wealthy. He's giving tax breaks to the wealthy. Tax breaks to the wealthy creates jobs, creates opportunities, build companies, employ people, and they have the flexibility to give them raises and manage their corporation at a better rate. When you just dump money on them, that's when people all fail. These people can exit these companies for hundreds of millions of dollars and they'll never work again. They'll move their whole corporation to another state, sell it off to a company in Texas. And they sitting on the high horse, ain't paying no real taxes. It's like it matriculates down. All right, let's get to a couple other things I want to say. Jamal Bowman, this Negro should be in jail because the last time I checked, falsely pulling a fire alarm is a felony criminal offense. When you knowingly and intentionally pull a fire alarm, you could actually cause people to die. It is a felony offense. This fool was on camera going up in front of a sign that said this is not an entrance or exit, moving the sign out the way, knocking the signs off the door, then pulling the fire alarm. Didn't do a day in jail. If he was a Republican, he'd been in jail. But since they let the Negro out of the cage that they should have put him in, he gets on TV and gets stupider and stupider. Listen to what he said about the health issues of black America. He ain't blaming fried chicken. He ain't blaming them honey buns. He's not blaming that canned food that we eat. He's not blaming the fact that there's a lack there of exercise. There's no pathways of exercise in many inner city communities because the infrastructure is not there. Then you go down the list, you got people traditionally eating foods that are not healthy for their lifestyle. And then, or the lifestyle that they should be living. And then you have a lot of black people per capita that are on food stamps and government assistance. And what do they get vouchers for? Wonder Bread. They're getting vouchers for all this unhealthy processed food, bologna, ham, fake cheese. That's why black people are fat and have heart disease and all these other things. And then I tell you what, black people be running around laughing at white people for walking their dog and walking outside and doing all this other stuff. Y'all need to get out there and do something and quit being stupid like him. Roll the clip.
Is America.
Catholic
and the
pro-life
problem
ministries
is
bombed.
we are not dealing
Catholic
with
pro-life ministries
America's
bombed. You're
original
right.
sin and its disease of hate and racism towards black and brown people and sexism towards women and anti-LGBTQ sentiment. We are not dealing with that. Your colleagues in the Republican Party do not hold each other accountable when it comes to the racism that comes from the party on a consistent basis.
Congressman, I mean, where are you on
You
the where are
can't
the
be calm
assassination
about
attempts?
this. I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart
Because I'm
disease.
white, I can't comment on
Listen
that.
to what I'm
Is that
saying.
what
The
you're
reason
saying?
why heart disease and cancer
pretty
and
racist,
obesity
I can't
and
comment on
diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. If your colleagues
Hold
would
on.
listen.
Let me tell you, I don't know. I don't know if it's the crack that he mixing up and that pipe got a little dirty, little residue from a little heroin in it or something. I don't know what he doing in that crack concoction, but you have to be out of your mind to say something so stupid. This fool said the stress of us being called the N-word both directly and indirectly. By who? Black people use the word more than any human being on planet Earth. They sing about the word. They call each other the word. In words of endearment, when they doing drive-by shootings, they call white people the word. The N-word is so damaging to you, but you say it every day. I guarantee you Bowman say the N-word. I guarantee you he says the N-word. Like, what are you talking about, bro? If black people didn't use the N-word, I would capitulate to his argument. But black people use the N-word every single day, all the time. It's rare that you'll see a black person that don't say the N-word. It's rare that a black person that don't say the N-word don't listen to the music saying the N-word every day. And you can't find 10 clips in a row where white people are calling black people an N-word out of their name. It's the most rare occurrence that you will ever see. I was called in my entire life, and I've traveled all over the country, whatever the case may be. I grew up in Texas till I was 18. I have never been called I have been only called the N-word by white people twice. I have never been called the N-word outside of my uniform. Only in uniform. And I honestly believe the two people that called me the N-word didn't call it to me because they racist. They called it to me because they wanted to get under my skin. They thought if they said that, I'd be mad and they'd win the argument. But you could call them a racist. So the millions of interactions that I've had with white people over the course of 38 years of my life, and I only been called the N-word twice. What is Bowman saying? He is a House of Representative member who was elected when white people voted for him, I guarantee. He literally worked with some of his other Democrat colleagues are white. And let me look at his wife. Is Bowman got a white wife? I swear I'm gonna quit the show. I'm gonna quit the show if his wife is white. I'm gonna quit the show. I'm finna quit the show. It's his wife white. Please, Lord. She better be married to a black woman. What's his name? Jamal Bowman, wife. Oops, I put the wrong words in there. Come on, ChatGPT. I don't want to search with you. I want to search with Google. Y'all hold the phone. Let's see. Jamal Bowman's wife. Oh, he married to a black woman. Thank God. I almost quit. I was going to quit the show. I was going to quit the mother freaking show if this man was married to a white woman. Let's see if he had an ex-wife. Let's see, ex-wife. All right, good. At least he got that going for him. Because if he was married to a white woman, I was gonna lose my mind. But this dummy, and I guarantee you that they got white friends, and this is the thing that bothers me about black people that act like this. They're so when they want to win an argument, they really bash white people and say white people don't have say in this, and I'm blackity black, and the world is coming to end because I'm black, and they don't like me because I'm black, and they got black friends. They lawyers black. Some of their best friends they went to college with is black. They got people they work with black. I mean white. I said black. White. All of these people are white. And they steady acting like this. And then they go around their friends and they all cool and at the barbecue at 4th of July, but then they on TV talking like this. Was there more to the clip? Give me some more. Roll the clip.
And try to learn and engage and grow and stop being so hateful, we could have a better country.
Jamal,
but unfortunately, we're still here.
Jamal, it's coming from one side. Jamal, I feel your passion and I understand where you're coming from sincerely. I really, really do. It happens on both sides, Jamal. You might think it happens more on your side. Jamal, when I leave the show, Jamal, you should see my Twitter feed.
I mean, and they're acquitted.
Hold on.
Rodney King.
Hold on. We got cops beating black people to death and they get acquitted. Where have they got acquitted when they were wrong? You get acquitted when it's justified. The cop that killed what's his name in Chicago? He was high on PCP. Laquan McDonald. I think it was Laquan McDonald. He got charged with second-degree murder. The cop that killed George Floyd or had something to do with George Floyd's death, they put him in there for the rest of his life. What cop are you referring to that just beat a black man and nothing happens? Rodney King was high on PCP and non-compliant. Them hitting him in the first 5 minutes was fine. They just went too far. But don't act like he wasn't on PCP taking the police on a high-speed chase. What are you saying, bruh? And then if you look at the stats, cops kill more white people than black people. Cops kill more unarmed white people than black people. And when you factor in the amount of patrol in inner city communities versus the patrol in white communities, they actually disproportionately kill white people more so than they kill black people. Go and look the stats up for yourself. What are you saying, bruh? They be whooping and killing white people all the time and people think it's unjustified. Let me give you an example. I forget the guy's name. It happened right here in Mesa, Arizona. The guy was drunk, crawling down the hall and got smoked like a brisket. Now, I know that it was justified. A lot of people think it wasn't justified because they didn't watch the video and they think that the person giving the commands was the person that shot him. But even then, it was justified. And the cop still lost his job. But a lot of people thought that wasn't justified. There was another shooting here in Phoenix. I forget people's names. There was a shooting here in Phoenix where it was a domestic violence situation. The cop came to the door. They knocked on the door. The guy opened the door with a gun. He put the gun down and got shot while he was getting ready to put the gun down. Justified shooting. Because the officer who shot him couldn't see him put the gun down. He saw him with the gun in his hand and going at the other officer. And of course, the guy's looking this way, so he didn't realize the officer was there. So he walked up with the gun like this, and he go to put it down and got shot. And everybody thought that was unjustified. There was a justified shooting. Now, white people think that wasn't unjustified. You see them running in the streets. You see them crying about white people getting shot. But all you dumb Negroes, dudes be pulling guns on cops. And they shouldn't have shot him. He put a gun on him. Okay, shot the cop in the face. And yeah, he shouldn't have shot him. All right, finish it.
Abner Louima, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin.
Oh! Trayvon Martin? He said cops killing black people. Trayvon Martin was killed by a civilian, a regular citizen. And you lumping that, they lumped Trayvon in with guys who got into police interactions. And Zimmerman got off. Why did Zimmerman get off? Because Florida had a stand your ground law, and the evidence wasn't enough sufficient evidence to prove that Trayvon was acting in self-defense. It leaned more towards Zimmerman acting in self-defense because the only witness that they had saw Trayvon banging Zimmerman's head on the ground before he shot Trayvon. And yeah, I think Zimmerman should have went to prison because I think he pursued Trayvon. But at the end of the day, the evidence that they have, they can't prove that, and neither can I. I just believe it's the case because they told him to get in his car, and he ended up fighting the kid in the middle of the apartment complex. So he had to go somewhere, but nobody knows who started it. All people do know is that Trayvon was on top of Zimmerman, beating his butt, and then he shot him in self-defense. Do I agree that Zimmerman should have got off? I wish that they had better witnesses because I think Zimmerman should have went to jail. But that wasn't a police officer, and it wasn't an unjustified situation based on a totality of circumstances and the witnesses and law that's on the books. Roll the clip.
In Memphis, it's not the same. And I don't want to qualify or quantify pain. That's not what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it is.
Everyone goes thugh pain. But the racism in this country is a disease that will destroy us. And it's destroying us right now as we speak.
You're a divided
January
country.
6th, 100%. Everybody was partying.
January 6th, time out.
Everybody.
How is January 6th racism? That was white people against white people. Am I right or am I wrong? I don't think I saw a black person go in the Capitol building. And whose podium got messed up? Nancy Pelosi. And no politician got hurt whatsoever. But the white people came into the Capitol building mad at the white man who was the vice president who certified the election, and mad that the white man won the election over Donald Trump. Where are the black people in that? What are y'all talking about? The only people died was a white woman who got shot by a black man, to be honest. Dumb Negroes will be the death of our country. Dumb Negroes. I want to call you the N-word with a hard R. You, people like you and them dumb white liberals are all going to be the death of this country if good, smart people don't step up against this. Black people are per capita, are the dumbest people. Now, there's a lot of smart black people, a lot of great black people. But per capita, we have the most dumb people out of any group. Why do you say that, Brandon? Look at the way we vote. They still complaining and voting for the same people they complaining about, but then blame the other man. That's like being in a relationship with an abusive husband, but blaming your ex. He living his life. He doing his thing. He raising the kids fine. He co-parenting like he's supposed to. And your husband is beating you, and you mad at him for your husband beating you. You mad at your ex for your husband beating you. You mad at Republicans for what Democrats are doing. Democrats are abusing you. Democrats haven't done nothing for you. Democrats prioritize LGBTQ. Democrats prioritize illegal aliens over black people every day of the week. But you mad at Republicans for the stuff that Democrats are doing because you're the one voted for them. They the ones run your city. They the one run your city in the ground. But you mad at them over it. That's crazy to me. Look at what the first black president ever done. White people put him in office, not black people. Black people do not have enough votes to put somebody in office if white people go against them. White people put Barack Obama in office for 2 terms. The first Negro, half Negro, that was the president, didn't do sugar honey iced tea for black people. Name me legislation that he did for black people. I can show you wars we got into that we shouldn't get into. I can show you money he gave to Iran and on a pallet in the middle of the night in different currency. I can tell you what he did to the LGBTQ AARP. I can't name nothing he did for black people. He did not secure HBCU funding. That was done by Donald Trump. He didn't have opportunity zones. That was done by Donald Trump. He didn't do urban revitalization to the degree that Donald Trump did. That was Donald Trump. What did Barack Obama, the first black president, do for black people? Nothing. The black people are still complaining then. They still complaining now, but they still vote for the same people. Now shut your bald-headed self up and get off my screen. Was that the end of the clip? No, you got 44 seconds. Give him 44 more seconds and I'm going on and then I'm going home. Roll it.
That's part. Riots in L.A., they're insurrectionists. But we pardoned everyone January 6th.
So, Congressman,
this
I was
is
there
America.
January 6th. I was evacuated January 6th. That was not a racist incident. I don't know why you're making that
My
that
man was
connection.
walking through the Capitol with a
I was
Confederate
there.
flag.
I was evacuated, Congressman.
What does the Confederate flag represent?
Come on, Congressman.
I'm asking you a question.
This was about a riot in the Capitol.
When you
To suggest-
erect a
of
wooden
course,
cross in
yeah.
American history, what does that mean? Google black lynchings in the South and watch the images that come up with black people hanging from trees and white people looking and eating sandwiches. This is America.
Hold on.
Are we going to deal with it or not?
Hold on. This is the ignoramus, or whatever you call it. Ignoramus. How you say it, Nick? You smarter than me. Is it ignoramus? Ignoramus. I said anus. That's weird. Ignoramus. Happy Pride Month, ignoramuses. Ignorant anuses. That's what we call them. That's a good word. That's not a cuss word. Ignorant anuses. Okay. Ignoramus is what it's called. Yeah. You had to look it up.
I was right though.
Can I say ignorant anuses?
If you want.
I think that's because I know the ignorant. I want to say the A double snakes, but I'm ignorant anuses. Okay, so let me move on to what he said. He goes on and he says about lynching. Pull a ignorant man back on the screen. He said lynching. Why do they conveniently forget that white people were lynched as well? Why do they conveniently forget that? I think there was about 2,400 white people lynched and there was 3,400 black people lynched. Or maybe it was 1,200 white people and 3,400 black people, I forget. But white people were also lynched. It wasn't just only black people that have ever hung from a tree in this country. White people did too. It was really anybody who would oppose the Democrat Party, and the militant arm of the Democrat Party will hang you if you did things wrong, by and large. What are you talking about, Jamal Bowman? If you look at the Confederacy, black people fought in the Confederate Army too. Do we want to talk about that? So the Confederacy is not just slavery. It's not just racism in the South. Confederacy represents what the South's values were, and it wasn't just that. And black people fly the Confederate flag too. People have made it more racist than it is. But did black people fight in the Confederacy? I'm gonna go put it up so I can give you some numbers. Did black soldiers fight in the Confederacy? And the answer is yes, but I'm going to see how many black people fight in the Confederacy. Let's see. I'm finna look it up. How many black soldiers fought in the Confederate Army? They said, look, ChatGPT says it's highly controversial. No, it's not. You like to believe that. All right, it said tens of thousands of enslaved black men, they say, were forced to work and support roles for the Confederate military. See, this is why ChatGPT and some of these others you got to take with a grain of salt. I studied black history, and there were black people that fought on behalf of the Confederate soldiers. There's black people that fought on behalf of Confederacy. Not every black person wanted the North or the Union to win. Every black person in the South wasn't a slave. Most of the free blacks lived in the South. Most of the black people existed in the Confederacy. Plenty of examples of this occurring. And of course, they don't want you to know any of these things. But I'm not saying most black people fought for the Confederate side. I'm saying that there were black people that fought for the Confederate side. You can go down to the South right now, you have black people that still support the Confederate flag. All right. Let's move on. But that's why you can't trust ChatGPT all the time, because it's only drawing information of what I think sometimes you can make it biased. Because if I got on here and I said, won't you prove to me that black people fought in the Confederate Army, they'll have some different articles up. It says, including Davis and Jefferson, Robert E. Lee were originally strongly opposed to arming black men because it contradicted the beliefs that slaves were a natural condition, but they did it. But they did arm black men, and they did allow them to fight in the militia. They did allow them to fight in the Confederate Army. So, I have to do a little fact check another time with another source, but it's true. You can look it up. I'll give you $500 if I'm wrong. All right. Now let's see. I think that's it. Or should we go with the Joe Rogan thing? How many people on here right now? 2,400. All right, not enough people for me to do another story. We'll do this tomorrow. All right. I love you guys. I'll do some super chats and then we're gonna get out of here. All right. Let's see. Lou, thank you so much for joining the Tatum squad. Paul, thank you so much for the super chat. We need a Sugar Honey Iced t-shirt. I need to make one, to be honest. Blacks and women will suffer the most under Memdani. I think his name is Memdani. Iran, modern day Persia. The day, according to the Hebrew calendar, will send the B-2. The B-52 is the same day or close to it that Israel gained authority to defend itself against Persia through Esther. See Esther 8. All right, appreciate it. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you on the next one. I'm out.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.